Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to this week's edition of the Shatter After Daily. I'm your host today, Brandon Alvarado, and I'm joined by the amazing Shatter After crew composed of the one and only Trayvon, the nerd with the tech,
Hey, how you doing? Happy to be here. This will be fun to talk about.
and the one guy you go talk to about geekly goods and geekly things, the geekly goods man himself, Leo Rydell. What's up, bro?
What's going on, bro? Thank you guys for having me, man. It's gonna be good to chat some Gen V, cuz
Yes,
the first 3 episodes was crazy, y'all.
yes, they
Yep,
were.
From the
yep.
jump.
Yes,
Like Leo has established tonight, our talk today is Gen V. So this is the Shadow After's first look at Gen V, and just so you know, we're last Friday, school is in session. The semester has started. So we are talking
has
about the
it?
first three episodes of Gen V. We're gonna talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you're here, that's your own damn fault. But if you want to know if this show is for you, you can stick around and get a good feel of what it is because it is more and more gruesome, crazy, maddening, but brilliant. The Boys' goodness in this great
Yes.
Amazon Prime spinoff. And I figured let's not waste time. We're excited. We're ready to talk about this show. So, Trayvon, you've seen it.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts, man?
Ah, man. I mean, from the opening, the way they started, like you always like, oh, they can't get any crazier. It can't get any. Yes, it can. Like the way that she learned her abilities.
What's up, Mike?
Sad.
Novice
Hey,
Cinephile
Mike.
in the chat says, "What's good,
What's up
beautiful people?
now?
What's up? What's up?"
Yeah,
You were saying, Trayvon?
no. I'm just saying it just was like she's such a traumatic life, and it's just like from you learning your powers that way to
Bro,
just like
that's
imagine that thought. Just I don't even know if I use my powers after that. Like I wouldn't even know. Like oh, I don't like woo. Like every time I use it, it will just shock you back to reality.
yeah.
You feel really bad for her from the start, and I like that they did that because you feel like okay, I'm with her right now. Like I need her to succeed. Like I need like this is terrible.
Right.
And then you get to meet the other characters as you go along, and then they shock you every time. I feel like I felt the same way with the boys show, of course, but um when I saw Invincible the first episode, I did not expect the ending that we got, and same thing with this. I was like, I did not expect that at all because he seemed like the main character. I was like, oh, he's gonna be around for a while. And then boom, literally.
By the way, you know there's a spoiler tag
Oh,
underneath, guys. I want everybody to know there's a spoiler tag like right there. So
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
be like mad at us. Be mad at yourself.
Yeah, I was kind of holding back who I was gonna. That's why I was like him and
Don't
stuff.
do it.
Yeah, yeah, I was doing that, but yeah, Golden Boy. It just I was like, wow, he did it. He killed himself. I was like, wow, why? What happened? Like, what is going on?
First episode.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right. First episode.
yeah. What a crazy opening. I don't know. I'm very excited to watch this. I knew it would be crazy. The boys was already crazy. I was like, imagine them in college. I can only imagine
Right.
the no restraint. It's gonna get worse. I'm sure. It's gonna get crazy. So, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Leo.
Man, this is so good. From the first episode on, just a bundle of joy and crazy things that happen. But what I love about this show is that the shocking moments really help the character driven moments. Like they have purpose and
Yeah.
they're written into the story very well. It's not just like,
Yep.
oh, hey, Maria's introduced and accidentally killed her parents with period blood just because. Like it actually establishes that character. Yes, guys,
Right.
this was crazy. It establishes that character and her purpose and motives. And
Yeah.
then later
Yep.
in the first 3 episodes, we learn that she wants to get reconnected with her sister. And unfortunately, her sister wants nothing to do with her and views her as a monster.
Or so we are led to believe.
Yeah,
Right.
so we
That's
so
true.
we think right now.
Come on
That's
now.
where we're at right now. That's where we're
Well, it
at
sounds
right
like she's
now.
trying to find her. That's what it sounds like. Like she got
Right,
Yeah,
taken
right,
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Angel says.
definitely, yeah, because definitely right now, like we gotta take with a grain of salt everything we hear
Yeah.
anybody say. This
Because
show is crazy.
Because what I love about it is that you don't necessarily have Vought themselves, but you have controlling forces around Vought that are really still pulling the strings behind the scenes. And there's these doctored up interviews going on with Marie after the events of the first episode. Never thought Luke would die. I mean, especially, I mean, like maybe, but not this early on. It's like the Homelander equivalent. We're going to get another psychotic, weird, mentally deprived person behind the scenes. And I mean, what happens at the end of the first episode, some of that's kind of correct, but it's crazy what ends up happening. And then you got Clancy Brown playing this like mean kind of corporate stooge that's at the head of the school, but then man, he ends up getting killed in the first episode too. So it's just a lot of shock value that works its way well into the story. I'm really liking these characters. I like how it handles young adult problems. These are themes and problems that we don't see in The Boys, like mental health, abuse, things that we just don't, I mean, a little bit in The Boys, but from a teenage perspective, impressing your parents. And one thing I think they're hitting on the head this season is the presence of social media and just how important it is to be an important figure these days with numbers. And we see that through moments of people trying to get followers and doing really messed up things in order to do so. Very real life equivalent there. So I really like where they're going with the younger adult issues. The gore is crazy. Prep yourself, y'all, because it's just like dang near every scene is like super bloody. But I like that Marie's power revolves around blood. And when we get to see the healing side of it all, I really like that there's two dynamics to her power. Like she can form and shape the blood, but she can also manipulate it and put it back inside of people, as we saw in the episode right before the episode 1 finale. I like that she has a healing factor and a offensive factor to her as well. So honestly, really liking that character, liking the other characters as well. They're very likable, cool, but they still do some things that are shady, especially in the first episode when they ditch out of the bar after chaos happens. But I really like this so far. And I really, really like the mystery going on behind the woods. I want to know more about that lab and what they're doing down there. I can't wait.
The thing that I want to say real quick about the blood power, it just, when she healed somebody, it just made me think, oh, so you can control other people's blood. Oh, so you can probably control anyone. This is gonna be interesting.
She's a bloodbender.
Blood bending up in here.
I thought she could just do hers until that happened. I was like, oh,
I thought that too. I thought that too. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, here we go. I saw that.
Ooh, she about to use that in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the way, and I like the fact that the way they created that scene, right? And the way they showed off that characteristic of her ability, it's like she was trying something she's never tried before.
Yeah.
She figured, what if I try this? So because you can see that she doesn't only, to be more specific, she doesn't just manipulate blood, but she can also manipulate the different states of blood. She can coagulate it, make it hard, make it soft. So the idea that she's able to manipulate blood in all the different little versions of it, it's super interesting how it plays into what's going on here right now.
No full moon.
No full moon, bro. Blood bending all day.
Honestly, I wouldn't even cut myself. I would just grab somebody else's blood. Like, let me pull out of you.
Mike in the chat.
That's what I would do.
Mike in the chat screams, and she didn't need a full moon.
Yeah,
true. Trayvon, you crazy.
I was just saying, like, I was like, once you figure that out, I'm saying once you figure it out, like, I ain't cutting myself no more.
Yeah.
You know what? It makes me happy that Homelander doesn't have those powers. Because could you imagine somebody like Homelander walking around able to control people's blood?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we don't need all that. But yeah, so I like this show. I loved it. Hearing you guys talk about it, taking the time to formulate my thoughts and actually talking. I love this show for many reasons. And
she could kill
I like
Homelander.
the introduction.
Think about it.
Yeah, she could.
Homelander.
I mean,
she could.
Her power, in my opinion,
he ain't moving.
might be the strongest in The Boys that we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think she's very close in terms of stronger with the head popper. Like she's like right on her, like right in that level. Mm-hmm. She's an Omega level mutant. But yeah, so I like the show a lot, and I like it for the reasons of why it's not The Boys.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Mhm.
it's I like that this is Trayvon. Mike in the chat says Trayvon going and go full Himiko Toga. Hey man, we crossing streams, but that makes all the sense in the world. But I like the idea of this is who the seven were before they were assholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is like this time in college. And by the way, the idea that they're calling Godolkin University God U, it's pretty like crazy.
Right.
But the idea that this is the last step for them, for some of the people here to become full-fledged heroes or big people in society, and like this is the last chance that they have to keep their humanity, right? Like in the fact that we're exploring that through Andre, through Kate, through Jordan, right? And not only that, I love the idea that this spinoff doesn't feel, what really connects this to The Boys is not just the how Vought is in the peripheral of the story of the environment, but how the events of the revelation of Compound V from the previous season, it's what's driving a lot of the reactions from these students, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they felt all their lives that they were being exploited for their powers, and then they find out, holy crap, we were right.
Yeah.
We have been exploited by our own parents. And the idea of found family because of that, like it's very interesting, and it gives it a very nice like New Mutants, X-Men vibes. That the Boys doesn't have, right? Because you have the teenage angst, you have the idea of I have powers, but I don't know how to use them 100% yet, and also highlights and makes me hate the Deep even more, and A-Tray even more.
They're horrible.
Yeah,
They're horrible.
Like the idea that they have become this shell of a human being because they decided to go for the fame aspect, right? And all those things that they learned at Got You. So I like the idea of seeing these characters that we've met, Marie, Andre, Kate, and see how their journey is. And the question is in the back of your mind, are they going to make the same decisions at the end? Or are they actually going to go aside? Because I love the dichotomy of you have Andre struggling of whether or not to keep being number one after Luke's death, or to really try and do the right thing.
I love that.
And then you have Kate with the idea of pushing people, which I don't know, bro. I think she's suspect, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
I do too, actually.
Yeah. But then Marie, because she comes from left field, right? She comes far removed from the world of heroes. So girl don't even have a phone, bro. Like
right? She don't got no Instagram.
That was killing me.
Right,
like,
Marie.
And the idea and the idea that you have that view of a character that she gets drawn in to become what she doesn't want to be, but because she has no choice, kind of, you know,
well,
like
she wants to be on the 7, you know. I mean, she did say
right.
that.
And what I love about
she'll get there.
What I love about her,
no, but the idea that she has no choice, because if not, she goes to jail. Like she's being pushed in that direction. Like she goes to that Willard Elmira Institute where she's going to be incarcerated.
Like Marie's case is because, you know, she wants her sister to not view her as a monster. So I like that. I like that her.
You have all those. Yeah, you have all those ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love that Luke counters that in the first episode and says, make sure it's because of what you want to do. So there's this kind of, and what I love about both The Boys and My Hero Academia, they do the same thing. They bust open the fame aspect of the heroism, and they say that this is wrong. And so you have this conflict with all the heroes, I think, in this show so far. That's like, okay, between being that famous person or doing what's right. And you have what's so different about Andre's case is that his dad is boots on the ground. You know, he's deeply involved. He knows everything. So you get this perspective.
He used to be a hero.
Yeah. And he's he's a known famous hero. You get this perspective from that character of, okay, my family's pulling me this way, but but what my gut is telling me is pulling me that way. So I love
Right.
the dynamic and duality of, do you become a hero because it's right, or do you become a hero for the fame? And I feel like Marie is sort of leaning on it for the fame because of her sister. She wants her sister to notice I'm not a
Yes.
monster. But I'm very interested to figure out deeper under the surface of that. Why does Marie want to, or will she figure out maybe it's not for me? I'm really like phoned into that. And also, who's the character who shrinks? Emma. Yeah, Emma. She was. What I
Little
like
quickie.
about Emma's power is that we get to see a power that's actually like not good in a sense, like where you have to make a sacrifice in order to use your power. So I thought that was cool that there's a little bit of like a darker side to her power, her having to actually throw up to use the power. I thought that was like really cool, and also touches on another teen issue. So I think that that's
Right.
that's like cool to have another like a power that has a weak spot in it exposed,
It's
because the
crazy
rest of them
how-
could just use it.
Yeah, it's crazy that she was exploited with it too. I was like, that scene was crazy. I was
Yeah,
like,
right.
he is weird. I was like, okay, what?
I'm
That
like,
was
there would be
crazy.
some weirdo that has
That was
fetish.
crazy. I was wondering that. I was like, does he like her because of? And then when I was like, oh my god, I was like, this is not
When
the
he
scene.
said, "Can you shrink?" I was like, "Oh no,
Oh my god.
Yep.
oh no."
That happened. No, and Chico, like, that's like, that's not anatomical possible. So don't worry, I got a plan. It's like, gosh. But you know what? You brought something very importantly about her character, and I think you do see shades of this in all the characters that we've met so far, with the exception of Andre, in a way, because he does have difficulty. His storyline, his difficulties lie outside of his abilities, right? But the idea that in the boys, something that's very present, with the exception of some characters, is that every single power comes with a price. Everything comes with a price. And that is actually a topic that is deeply rooted into the world of the boys. To become a superhero, there's so many things you have to sacrifice. And we can talk about Starlight all day, which is literally the biggest example of that, right? And then in this case, you have the whole thing about Emma, right? A little cricket that has to do what she does for the sake of her power. The idea that her power is literally something that gnaws at her,
Yeah,
like it's a defect that she has, which is horrible, to be able to feel like that. And the fact that someone did that to you, parents. But we know there's good parents out there.
and
I'm
real
just saying.
quick, I actually do want to touch on that because I love that there's this perspective. There's this dueling perspective going on with most of the other characters blaming their parents, but Marie is the one that's unique in that they don't say yet, but her parents seem to have another purpose behind giving her powers. And I want to know a little bit behind that, because as soon as the other characters talk about, oh, don't feel bad for your parents, you can tell that she knows that her parents had a different purpose for that. So I want to know.
Or at least they couldn't
more.
imagine. Yeah, they couldn't accept or imagine that.
That would be the power.
That something was happening, right? That she's another one that was exploited by her parents, and that's the price her parents paid, whenever her powers manifested. But like the whole thing that Kate cannot push too many people because then she gets seizures. Like the idea that Marie has to. By the way, we appreciate the showrunner of the boys by the trigger warning of every episode because of how Marie's powers work.
Yeah.
Like that is great, very respectful. A lot of people were not able to watch the show because of that, but better that than harming mentally. Like the idea that we're exploring themes without the sacrifice of other people's mental health.
Yeah.
But kudos on that, because Marie's, at least most of the times that we see her using her powers, she is committing self-harm. But that's the price that she pays, because in a way, not only is she using her powers, but you can kind of see how that's her method of dealing with the atrocities that are linked to her. So it's like that's how she manages how she feels about herself, which is horrible. Which is kind of also another layer. How layered all these characters are. Like that's another layer that we're going to be exploring throughout, because she thought she could trust someone, but she keeps finding people that she cannot trust in.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see more of that development. Now, the biggest MVP for me so far, the duo that played Jordan, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Bro.
good. They're good.
Bro, they are great. Like the fact that you took these two actors, which are not related, but they play off each other so well, because of course the Jordan's power is that they can switch genders whenever they want, and the way they do the transitions are seamless. You can never imagine or tell that it's CGI or whatever. Like it feels, and apparently they have also like a light power or something, because you kind of saw a lot of like
Is
power
it-
punches when he
I
was
think
fighting.
one of them
boy.
is. I think the boy has
Super strength.
indestructibility.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He's got some kind of invulnerability. I think is what it is.
Yeah, it has something like that. Yeah. So
And
the
she has a light
I
power.
yeah, but I like that's like the hardest thing you could ever do. Like the idea that you come to set and you got to see the other guy play and you got to follow that. That
takes some talent.
That's not easy, but it was great. I love how great it's been so far, and it's one of my favorite characters so far.
What I like about that character too is that it does explore sexuality. Because
Yeah.
I think that, in my opinion, I don't know if that's how it's being portrayed, but I think Jordan wants to be one way, but their parents want them to be another. So I like that. I like that that's a very relatable thread for people in the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And I think that changing their powers per gender is really cool too, because it's like, okay, that character can use the woman's powers for the energy blast and then can turn into the man to be indestructible. I like this cool dichotomy of changing the powers as well.
It's funny because it also kind of plays on the idea of gender roles in the way that those powers work. You know, without going a lot into it, but it's another great exploration of that. I love how the writers, the showrunners, find ways to explore things even that way, which is just freaking willing, damn it.
Yeah, you know, and I like the episode where the parents come in, because it just really like rips open the heartstrings of these characters. I mean, their parents are horrible. I mean, there are a lot of them that are terrible. I mean, Emma's mom trying to expose her with her powers, and then the other Jordan's parents want to force them to be the man.
It's like be a man all the time.
Yeah. I like that.
I also I love the idea that Jordan's idea of being loved by the parents, it's not for them to choose who they choose to be. It's about them accepting them beyond what they choose to be. You know what I mean? And I love that, which a lot of times that's what it takes, right? When you really love someone, it doesn't matter what they choose to be. You just love the person. You love their existence. You love who they are and what they bring to the table. You know what I mean? And the idea that it's because it goes beyond the idea of being conservative, what their parents are doing. It's because you're rejecting your child because they have. It's like saying that you reject your child just because he has a deficiency, which it's not a deficiency. But
or in my opinion, it seems to be really hitting on anybody in the LGBTQ community and their parents not accepting them for those choices.
Yep.
True. Yep. 100%.
I know that hits home for a lot of people, so that's a good character to have, I think.
Yep.
And it seems realistic. Doesn't seem forced. It doesn't seem
right.
The writing works.
We saw who
and they don't do it, and it doesn't overstay.
Yeah,
and
you know, it wasn't a girl, so it was like you saw. I was like, well, there you go. So.
Yep.
And then when dad and mom showed up, had to scramble out and become a guy again.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. The idea that why should someone so beloved by and someone that has a big role in society, by the way, because in the school society, when they're out being themselves, like Jordan is like top tier. Everybody knows who Jordan is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the idea that this person, that's the struggle. Like understanding, wanting that acceptance, but also like how part of their story probably be, I need to be who I am in spite of what you think, and I'm going to be that and be happy, which is kind of like where that's leading. And I kind of like the idea that what brings everyone together, it's that a lot of adults suck. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? And also the change of generations, because that's another topic that's very big in the show, is that whenever there's a generational shift, the younger generation is always going to see things somewhat differently, especially if the previous generation was horrible or doesn't understand or support them in a way that's beneficial for everybody. For everybody in the room. So I like the idea that they're brought together by the trauma that the previous generations has left with them.
Yeah, and that's a very relatable thing in
Yep.
society now. I mean, generations will leave trauma for the next one that brings people together. And I wanted to ask you guys, starting with you, Trayvon, do you guys think it's necessary for any of the boys' characters to actually physically show up here? I honestly think they can just keep going with this crew. Don't really need a 7 to appear.
No, I don't need them. I mean, obviously they want to be a part of the 7, so I'm assuming we'll see them. At least I know they've already confirmed to show us one of them, but but we don't need them. No,
that deep fake crying.
The one thing I wanted to touch on was Jordan more is the fight. Cause at the beginning, like that fight had what Luke all the way down the hallway, like that was crazy, the way the transitions and everything. But then it's like they were just passed by and Marie was given the credit, and I understood why they were so mad about it. I was like, yeah, I've been mad too. But then when Marie was like, they were going to expel me, like, and let you guys just float on, and I love that. I love that battle. I love that. And then at that point, Jordan was like, okay, I'm gonna calm down now. I'll let you just go. It's okay. All right, I got it. I understand. You were about to get kicked out. I understand. Gotta save yourself. I like that. The fight was amazing, and that was cool to see them confront it. Like I like that they didn't drag it out, because they could have dragged it out. They could have hated each other for a long time, and then Marie finally blow up in like episode 6. I was like, I'm glad they got it out of the way right away. Like, let me go ahead and tell you now, so you can leave me alone.
And I completely agree with you. Those transitions are amazing. Like when they shift, I was like, dude, this is buttery smooth.
It was so good. It was so great.
Convincing, believable. The visuals in this show are just incredible. I mean, listen, I'm going to tell y'all this. I went from Loki to this, and I was just like, woof. It's a completely different production value here. Like the production value on The Boys and Gen V now is great. I'm glad they didn't cheap it down to have it be like, oh, well, this is just a spinoff. Like, no, this feels just as important as The Boys.
Yes.
So, man, Gen V is on it with the technical aspects. I mean, the shots are great. It's written, I mean, incredibly brilliantly. To be in
the Powers
world amazing without feeling like we're following The Boys, props to the writing team. Like, you guys have created a self-knit story in the same world that we can get just as interested, or in some cases more interested in, than The Boys. So I love that, man. They have this very self-contained, great story. And what I loved about what you said about the dynamic between the two of them is you immediately side with Jordan, because it's like, well, hold on, man. But yes, I love that Marie had a comeback for that. And now it's a little harder because you understand both sides. And I can't necessarily pick a side because you get it. They weren't going to say anything. They weren't even going to accept Marie. It was Jordan who was the decider, the decision maker of Marie getting in this. And I love it. It came back around, some karma for Jordan a little bit.
Yeah. Because, they thought it would be number 1 right after that. And I do feel bad that they got passed by that much, though. They're like, oh, yeah, I'll just be number 1. I was like, I feel like Jordan probably should have been number 1. Like, but the fact that they were talking about, I think on that call, they were like, what are we going to do? We can't, I forgot what they said about Jordan, but I didn't like that. I was like,
yeah, they can't. No, and that's also another side of why the writers' room of The Boys, period, is so brilliant, because they have their ear to the ground of what moves society a lot of times.
That's a real thing.
The idea that superheroes is a brand, right? That was a marketing thing. Oh, we can't support a bi-gender Asian minority and put them in number 1. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? But to them, to their shareholders, like the whole capitalism, right? And the fact that's one of the beauty things, that because a lot of people think, oh, but we don't have superheroes in the real world. You're right. But those type of conversations are the type of conversations that occur that high up. And a lot of times we think,
Mhm.
why are minorities being treated like this? Why are they being excluded like this?
Mhm.
Why are the resources not there? Because of conversations like this that are happening. Is that wink, wink moment, like Hamilton? That's what happens in the room where it happens. That's what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I know you're proud, Mike. Hamilton references.
Because let's be real here. I think Jordan would be able to, from what we've seen from number one, I think they would be able
She
to
stood
take
toe to
him
toe
down.
with Golden Boy, bro.
Yeah.
Toe to toe. Like
Toe to toe.
clearly that's number one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you guys said about the bickering back and forth, each of them, I love that all of these characters have very clear drives, and everything they say is intentional, and it really builds up to that quiet moment when they all sit down at the gala. That they all sit down and they're talking about their experiences and they're talking their truth, and that brings them together. And like when Jordan does, like, yeah, my parents killed my grandpa, and Kate goes, no, they didn't. And she goes, yeah, I just felt left out. Like, that's how you know that okay, there's an understanding here. Like, they were able to find common ground, which again, look at the type of people that are thank you, Mike. Look at the type of people that compose the group of heroes that we're following. You know what I mean? That's a very clear view of what society is composed of. This is the real people that exist, right? And I like the idea of MX exclusion, Andre, the whole mystery with Sam, with Luke's brother. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that's super interesting, super brilliant. And
I want to touch real quick on Andre's story. I love that we haven't seen his powers that much yet, because we've seen
little things,
of instances and blips here and there, but his story is really about the duality between his father and doing what's right. But I'm curious to see, like, okay, when this guy goes all out, what can he do? Because he's essentially like Magneto, right? He controls metal, is what it's
so actually
it looks like, but
it's like metal.
That bird.
Is it telekinesis? I don't know. Like is it just
magnetic?
Anything?
I think it is like magnetic type of manipulation. I think so. That's kind of Magneto. That's Magneto right there. So I'm like, dude, I want to see this guy kind of like go all out. What's gonna happen? Because
what you mentioned about
power,
and you know what you mentioned about the powers not being, like, with Andre in particular, 100% the center. It's also another thing that makes this show so great,
so good. Yeah,
like the powers are the sprinkling on top of how great the story is. You know what I mean?
They
on some
narrative.
projects,
they serve these characters' drives and their motives,
right?
But they take a back seat to the story. It's not like it's like, oh, we're showing up and we're battling every other scene.
Yep.
No, these powers are taking a narrative purpose to drive these characters and the themes forward. So yeah, love it, man. So,
and it's funny because I'm glad that you say that, because that's the one thing that we need from great. Yes, I'm looking at you, universe. This is what we need with great superhero projects. We need to eat good. You need to cook a good story so we can eat it. So when we see them being heroic and using powers and doing all that, all we do is enjoy it, because we've already eaten good in the things that matter. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's kind of the sake of some superhero shows. I'm not going to name any names, but I think that if you fail to touch on society where it's at in a superhero template, it makes it just very generic and a little hard to follow. Here, where they bring in these real themes, and that's something that My Adventures with Superman brought in too. Bring in these real life problems that occur, and I think that it serves the narrative so well. Like Gen V is just so unique from The Boys because of that purpose. Instead of you taking adult problems, you're taking teenage problems and putting them there. And it's in moments like where we see Queen Maeve in seasons 1 through 3 and all these different problems, real life problems in the story that we can relate as viewers. Oh yeah, that's happened to me. Oh yeah, I know how that goes. Emma with the weird fetishes. I mean, it's just like, we can relate. We can relate. So I love it, man. Gen V, honestly, I haven't seen it yet, but I gotta get on 4, 5, and 6. I can't wait to get on some episodes.
Yeah.
But so far, I mean, and each episode ending on a cliffhanger. This ended on a hell of a cliffhanger with Emma coming up out of dude's ear. Like the boys always does something visually that I would just never have thought it would done.
And
A
it's
little
always
tiny
about
girl on a penis.
what?
Like I would have never thought.
No, not only that. What is it with the writers saying, okay, there's got to be a scene this season where someone is covered in blood and guts. Ooh, let's put the tiny one and cover her in blood and guts.
I like that.
Like,
No matter what the powers is, they figure out a way to make it deadly.
Yeah,
No matter who it is. Okay, you would think, oh, she
Yep.
just shrink. Oh no, it can be useful some kind of way.
no,
Right. When she goes up in dude's ear, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, I didn't even like think of that. Like if you're that small, you could just blast through somebody's brain like that. Like
no, and in Looney Tunes, the Emma would made it on the other side, and everything would be okay. But this ain't Looney Tunes.
right.
This guy ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is crazy. This is crazy. I don't know, guys. This show is amazing. It's great. I can't wait to keep watching it and keep talking about it.
What does it line up
think
with
we've
y'all's
done-
like shows of the year?
Yes. Oh, buddy, this one in shows of the year,
Yeah, yeah,
it's top 3 territory,
yeah.
100% so far.
If it continues
far.
on this
Yeah.
level, it's top
Yep.
3 territory. I mean, for me, potentially number 1. Honestly, I mean, if it continues at this pace,
Yep.
I'm possibly looking at number 1.
And you know what's crazy? We didn't get a season 4 of The Voice, and that's how you know you have a great spinoff. Because I don't miss season 4 of The Voice. I'm not missing the fact that I didn't get that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with Gen V being my taste of The Boys for the year 2023. That's how
100%.
good this show is.
because they
Yeah.
came out with Diabolical, and some of the episodes in Diabolical are cool, but like for the most part, it's pretty.
That was
meh.
like Star Wars Visions. You get a little bit of
Yeah.
different things. It wasn't meant to be your,
and that's why I'm glad this has paid off so much, because I was like, I mean, Diabolical one good. Is this gonna be kind of like teeny bopper? And like, no, it's same level. It's doing well. Now, if it stays at the pace it's at, where would y'all like rank it in the seasons? Now, if it's like theoretically, if it just stays at the same goodness, where would y'all rank it in the boys lineup?
This for me, this is the type of stuff I would have watched more than The Boys. If I had like a comparison of like which one I would have picked, it would have been this type of show rather than the Boys. It's cool to see The Boys or whatever, but this is more up my alley type of show. So when they first announced it, I was like, oh, college. I was like, oh, interesting. I was like, now see the fact that we knew The Boys already, the type of world they're in,
Yeah,
and the type of industry they're a part of. I was like, this is going to be dark already. So to put them in that, it just made me think about. I was okay. When I first saw, it gives me Sky High. Of course, it's not going to be Sky High because it's going to be very dark, but it does give me Sky High with the Sky, like especially when after we saw the show, I was like, oh, so they're like
that's a very dark Sky High.
yeah, very dark.
So for me, it's a mix of it's a Sky High, 13 Reasons Why in the world of The Boys. That's what I'm getting from it so far.
And it does not feel like the CW. Thank goodness.
Come on, don't do that.
Oh,
Thank goodness it don't feel like that.
You know what?
Come
I'm gonna say
on.
this.
They did it.
You know what, Leo? You've been keeping that in your back pocket. You're waiting for your opportunity to shoot down a CW, bro.
Listen, man,
Stop throwing
Riverdale
shade,
wasn't
man.
it. Riverdale wasn't it.
Riverdale,
It
bro.
is. And you know what?
Yeah.
Sky High, what's good about this show is it does the same thing. The main character gets their powers later in life, but it's dangerous here. So
Yeah.
I like that. It's like they made it darker, edgier.
Danger.
Sky has such a
Danger.
good world they built too. That's why I was like,
Mhm.
and I was like, they could have kept doing stuff in here. It would have been cool. But yeah, so now we have this. So
I want
I'm
Sky High
excited.
too, man. I want a
excited.
Sky High too for the longest.
Yeah,
Too bad.
yeah.
Brandon,
Not as
what would
bad
you
as
rank
that
it,
Spy
man?
Kids. Spy
No,
Kids, we
man.
good. We can do without.
Yeah, I'm not watching
that
that.
latest,
I'm not
that
watching
new
that
one
one.
was. Oof.
I'm not watching
It
that.
was abyss. It was horrible. I was like,
So,
yeah, I
guys.
don't know. Even kids, I don't know if y'all like that Spy Kids. But Brandon, where would you rank it among the seasons if it stays at this level?
Oh, well, I mean, season 3 of The Boys is the best so far, right?
Ooh,
In my opinion.
I would have to say 2.
No, that's fine. I just love the character of Soldier Boy.
So
and I love what he brings to the table and how he affects every single character differently. So I kind of I liked him. Like Stormfront, it was just a different side of what Homelander is, even though it's even crazier than Homelander.
Yeah, I love it.
But
even crazier up in here.
Right. But I love I don't know why, because I'm a big believer on a show. But the best shows just get better with every season. And this particular show feels like the best The Boys has been. You know what I mean? Because it's learned throughout 3 seasons. Like they haven't just started from scratch. They took all the lessons learned from the universe they built.
Yeah.
So this is literally, it's hard for me to say that it's better than, but it's up there. It's up there. Like it's The Boys of 2023. That's the best thing I can tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't say it's less. It's top tier. And I just hope that it keeps doing that and subverting expectations and exploring all the different things. Because here's the thing. A lot of people don't think about it because a lot of times we get lost in how crazy the shocking moments are, right? But this show does so much heavy lifting in so many different things. Like it's talking a lot of serious topics, and some things it just like sneaks it in there, and you're like, "Oh, damn, we're doing this." You know what I mean? Like it's doing a lot, and the fact that we can just absorb it and enjoy it, as opposed to it being a film like Oppenheimer that just keeps you high and makes you analyze everything, but it's a lot of information. Like this is the best presentation I've seen for topics like this in anything. So it's like.
It's very self-contained in its setting. I mean, you only have the university. We're not all over the world. We're very in a box here. And I like that, man. Like, I just really want to learn more.
Very few shows work well within a box.
Yeah.
And this one definitely, it works very well.
Thank goodness the execution wasn't Riverdale.
You gotta keep doing that. Hold on.
Y'all like Riverdale? That's y'all's jam?
I watched the first couple of seasons. Riverdale.
See, I'm not. It's just that leave the CW alone. Let it rest in peace, damn it.
All right, Scarlet fan. I'll
so before Leo keep throwing shade at Supernatural, let's how about we wrap this up, guys? Because we've done our part, bro. We've given our thoughts on Gen V. If you haven't seen it, this video has given you all the reasons why you should. Or if it's not for you, skip to the next one. But if you love The Boys, you're going to love Gen V.
Yeah.
A lot of great character work, which is the kind of thing, like you go for the blood and guts, but you stay because of the characters. Yeah. And Gen V is definitely doing that in spades. And I don't know why Mike keeps like bringing like battle here. Calm down, Mike. Let's calm it down.
That's right.
Mike is out here.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, Trayvon, where can people find you and your Know the Tech things?
Well, like you just said, basically that everywhere except on TikTok. There's an underscore after it. But yeah, talking about a lot of this stuff. I'm beyond the in the chat after daily. I'm on Geek Set podcast quite a few times. So that's fun. I like talking about this stuff. It's always good to get it out because you just I want to talk about the show. Did everybody else watched it? Yes, come on, let's go. So yeah, it's always fun to get it out. Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Geekly Goods, where can we find you, man?
You guys can find me over on YouTube at Geekly Goods. If you're in that YouTube search bar, just type Geekly Goods. You'll see a logo with me and 2 G's. Come on over, y'all. Let's talk some geek. We got some good stuff coming up, y'all. Just saw The Exorcist Believer. It was horrible, in my opinion. Also, The Boys Gen V. Got screeners for it, and we'll be covering the first 6 episodes next week. And then a spoiler recap for episode 4 this Friday. So guys, come on over to Geekly Goods on YouTube. And if you're on any other social media platform, I'm at Geekly Goods, baby. Thanks for having me, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you can find us here at the Shadow After Daily every single week, talking all things film, television, superheroes, news, a bunch of things. Mike keeps a great variety of topics here and a great crew every single week. And if you want to see me talk anime, you can join me, Isaac, Jamie, and Mike at the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We have a stream coming up soon on the amazing Castlevania Nocturne, which was an amazing tour de force on Netflix, and we can't wait to talk about it. So stay tuned for that stream coming to a YouTube station near you.
That might be my number one. That might be this. Jim V got work to do. Jim V got work to
do. See, Leo didn't say animated projects. But if you were to say animated projects,
Jim V got
Castlevania Nocturne, buddy, 100%.
Man, I gotta get on that Nocturne.
Love it. I love it.
So, guys, stay awesome. Keep being awesome. Keep watching movies and keep the shatter rising. We'll see you later, guys. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.